Assalamu alaikum and greetings to you all. This is Sabina Victor, the CEO of Impart and the presenter for today's session. So let me start with my presentation. All right. So today's topic is creating a positive classroom environment. And before I move to my presentation, let me give a brief introduction about myself. I'm an educationist with nearly 22, not with nearly 21 years, but I have an experience now of 22 years in the education field. I have been awarded twice with International Excellence Award, first by Global Education Network, which was in March, and now recently, I was awarded the Teacher Gratitude Award by International Internship University, India, on 5th of September 2024. I'm the founder and CEO of Impart Learning to Excel and Grow. I'm a certified global trainer by International Internship University, India. I am a UNESCO MGI EP certified facilitator for social and emotional learning, which is CEL. At the same time, I'm also a Teach and Seek certified digital trainer, and I'm representing Pakistan at various international educational platforms such as Global Education Network for and Global Forum for Teacher Educators and Open Pakistan, which is sorry, I am also an Open Pakistan alumna for Relo Pakistan, which is a public affairs section of US Embassy, Islamabad. So in today's presentation, I will be discussing about the following topics. That is the importance of a positive environment, key components of a positive classroom, then is classroom management strategies, creating a safe and inclusive environment, then is engaging and motivating students, then is social and emotional learning, which is a short form of SEL. Now, I want you to have a look at the short video clip. And I want you to tell me in the YouTube comments or on WhatsApp, what is exactly happening in this particular video? What type of classroom does this video clip depict? And observe the behavior of the teacher as well as what the students are doing behind him. Now, if you ask me, the video is a depiction of a negative classroom environment. Students are out of control. They are throwing paper planes and balls at each other, and teaching has been affected. In other words, it also shows indiscipline and chaotic environment. Maybe the lesson prepared by the teacher lacked activities to cater to different activities, and the teacher has somewhat given up on the students. They are controlling him through their negative attitude. The teacher does not know what to do next. And we need to prevent such scenarios in our classroom. And that's why we need to create a positive classroom environment through our words and actions. Moving on. So now I come to the definition, that is, what is a positive classroom environment? Now, creating a positive classroom environment is essential for successful teaching and learning. A positive classroom environment builds emotional and social connections between the students and teachers, making them feel more comfortable than is respected and valued. It encourages collaboration among peers while providing an atmosphere conducive to learning. An effective approach to developing a positive climate starts with setting clear expectations for conduct, establishing a sense of community, and providing a positive reinforcement. In other words, teachers need to provide such an environment where students feel physically and emotionally safe. where they feel safe to even express themselves without being judged by the teacher and their peers. Moving on. So now I come to is the importance of a positive classroom environment. Now, the first point is when we say positive classroom environment enables children to become inquirers and explorers and true leaders of their own learning, it means that we have given them an autonomy to become independent learners by creating a student-centered classroom. The activities planned by you through your lesson plan, whether peer or group activities, makes them independent learners and you a facilitator. You create questions and topics for research and encourage them to find out answers to those questions or topics. And your encouragement and motivation helps them to explore or research, making that learning more meaningful. Number two, children are able to work as a team, celebrate each other's achievements, and learn from mistakes. Now, activity-based lessons create social skills among students when they work in groups or pairs. They learn to work as a team, cooperate with their classmates, celebrate happy moments, such as achievements, and learn from mistakes. Tell your students it's okay if they have made mistakes because important lessons are learned from them. Number three, it enhances students' ability to learn and to become productive in the true sense of learning things on their own. And number four, it improves attention, reduces anxiety, and supports emotional and behavioral regulation of students. Next, I come to is the components of a positive classroom environment. So you see, there are three important components. First is the physical environment, then emotional climate, and instructional practices. Now, under the physical environment, over here, I'm referring to the physical structure of your classroom. Now, first point emphasizes on the arrangement of the desk. Your desk, the desks of the students, the seating arrangement should be in such a way where you as a teacher are able to move around the classroom and you are able to see your students and your students should be able to see you. At the same time, it should be the seating arrangement should be done in such a way where your students are able to interact with you, where there is no gap in that communication. All right. Next is to use natural light and calming colors. Then number three is display of students' work to create a sense of ownership. Certainly, if you have activities which requires the participation of the students, appreciate their efforts by putting their work on display on the soft boards, because the work which is displayed on the soft board so shows the students a sense of ownership and they take great pride when they see that the work has been done by them, and it also shows their understanding. All right, then we come to the emotional climate. Now you need to create that mutual respect and support. All right, and then there also needs to be an atmosphere of trust. Now this uh, you need to keep in mind the emotional needs of your students and that is created when you are able to understand your students, their interests, their needs. When you are open, when you are accessible and open to communication, all right, allow your students to share their problems with you because the solutions which you offer to them will be beneficial. Make your lessons in such a way which you know in which you encourage them to share their understanding and you both learn from each other. All right, when you encourage your students to participate in group discussions or classroom discussions, even encourage them to ask questions, they will see that the teacher's taking interest in them and they will appreciate it, they will respect you. All right. And the same way goes for the trust. In case if a student is experiencing a problem, do not highlight it in the classroom, but call the child aside, or maybe after your period gets over, teaching period, and try to resolve that issue with that student without letting the class know what had happened. All right. Then you come to the instructional practices. That is, your lesson plans should be made in such a way which is relevant to the students' lives. All right. Your lesson plan should have clear communication and expectations of whatever you're teaching them, whatever lesson or topic you're teaching them. You need to share the lesson objectives with them so that they know what is required of them. And if you see students displaying good behavior, if you see them doing well in their academically, appreciate them, give them that positive feedback. In other words, constructive feedback. All right, where you highlight their strengths. All right, their strengths, their weaknesses, and how they can overcome, turn those weaknesses into their strengths. All right. Then moving on. Next I come to is the classroom management strategies. Now, classroom management strategies promote learning by establishing and maintaining a positive and safe environment. However, classroom management can be a source of anxiety for educators, especially the newly qualified staff. And it's important for teachers to equip themselves with strategies designed to support both academic progress, social and emotional development by dealing with disruptions and students' misbehavior in a protective and effective manner. Now, first I come to is establish classroom rules and expectations. Now, establishing classroom rules and expectation is fundamental for creating structured learning environment. Now, you should have clear outline or outline the expectations right from the first day of school. For example, the first rule that you can have is raise your hand before speaking. And the second rule you can have is respect your classmates. Then is number two is build relationship with students. Then is building relationship with students is essential for creating a positive classroom atmosphere and promoting good behavior. Showing genuine interest in students' lives and interests. It helps teachers to establish trust and a strong rapport. Number three is keep specific students' needs in mind. Now, keeping students' needs in mind allows teachers to provide targeted support and accommodations. Now, recognizing and addressing individual differences, learning styles, interests, and background helps to create a more inclusive and responsive learning environment. For example, providing additional resources or modifying assignments to accommodate students with diverse learning needs helps to promote equity in education. It enhances classroom management by fostering a sense of belonging and engagement for students. Number four is design effective lesson plans. Now, lesson planning with clear objectives and engaging activities support effective instruction and classroom management. Planning lessons that are relevant and challenging and use strategies that help students' interest and participation. For example, now there are some examples that I will share with you. Try to use interactive technology, then is cooperative learning tasks, or hands-on experiments, etc. Then is arrange classroom furniture purposefully. Now, arranging classroom furniture can impact the flow of instruction and student behavior. For example, arranging desks, therefore, in clusters or circles promotes group discussions, cooperative learning, and a sense of belonging, and it reduces disruptions. Then is incorporate brain breaks. Now, incorporate brain breaks into the daily schedule to help maintain student focus and productivity. Short structured breaks between activities or lessons give students opportunities to recharge and refocus, such as brief stretching exercises, mindfulness activities such as deep breathing, and quick games helps to improve attention span, leading to more effective learning. Then is give students responsibilities. Then is giving student responsibility empowers them to take ownership of their learning and their behavior. Assigning tasks such as classroom jobs, peer tutoring, etc. Another example is allowing students to take turns at the morning assembly. Number 8 is use behavior specific praise, that is BSP. Then is using behavior specific praise reinforces positive behavior and encourages students to make good choices. It also boosts students' self esteem and motivation. For example, acknowledging students for helping a classmate, you as a teacher can say, number one, well done for helping them complete the task. Number two, you did well in the test. Keep it up. Then is model ideal behavior. Now, modeling ideal behavior sets a positive example for students and reinforces classroom expectations. Demonstrating kindness, respect, kindness, hard work with students and colleagues creates a culture of mutual respect and cooperation. Other positive behaviors, such as acknowledging and accepting mistakes, active listening to students' perspectives, etc., creates a positive classroom management. All right. So moving on, now I come to is creating a safe and inclusive environment. Number one is provide a safe space for students. Now the class should be 100% safe space for all students. Some of your students might come from disturbed home environments and school is their only escape. You need to monitor negative elements such as bullying so that students feel comfortable and empowered within themselves. Number two is adapt to each class. One size doesn't fit all. So, in a world of vast learning experiences, you should take responsibility to meet your students' needs. And an effective way to deal with situations is by asking them how would they prefer to learn instead of providing their one size fits all method. Number three is build trust relationships. Now, it's important to create trust relationships with your students. When teachers do this, it leads to better learning and a greater boost to emotional and academic needs of students. Next is create a judgment-free zone. Now, it's important to shape your classroom in a judgment-free zone so that students can focus on learning instead of worrying about being accepted by their classmates. Next is create supportive classroom environment. Now, this provides the foundation for emotional, physical, and academic wellness. You should collaborate with students to provide a supportive, active learning environment. When such an environment is provided, students focus on learning and freely expressing therefore themselves. Next is try to smile often, teachers, because it makes a great difference, not only just for you, but even for your students. All right. Next is respect the differences. You can respect the differences of your students by treating each of them fairly and acknowledging their unique needs. If you must punish a student, do it privately, as to not embarrass the student in front of the whole class. As a leader of the classroom, you can teach your students how to show respect to others. Moving on, now I come to is how to, the strategies of how to create um, an active classroom for your students. First is by active learning. Use hands-on activities, experiments, and interactive lessons. Incorporate technology and multimedia to enhance learning. Number two is students' choice. Allow students to choose topic for projects or reading materials. Provide options for how students can demonstrate their learning. Number three is real world connections. Connect lessons to real life situations and problems. And then invite guest speakers or plan field trips related to the curriculum. Next, I come to another very important topic, and that is social and emotional learning. Now, social and emotional learning is an important topic for the 21st century learners and teachers. All right. Every school nowadays, not only just schools, but even other educational institutions are inculcating or integrating CEL in their curriculum because it helps students to understand and manage their emotions, to develop empathy for others. And it also helps them to set and accomplish their goals and to take up responsible decisions and maintain healthy relationships. Now, how did CELF start? Now, social and emotional learning began in 1960 at the Yale School of Medicine in the Child Study Center. There, Professor James Comer therefore started the Comer School Development Program, where he focused on education systems of low income African American communities, particularly the elementary schools in Connecticut, that is USA. The school implemented programs that focus on social and emotional needs of students. From this approach spread to other schools because of the successful research and being affiliated with Yale University. Now, Roger Weisberg, Timothy Shriver, and other researchers and educators established the New Haven Social Development Program in 1987. This led to the creation of CASTLE, which stands for the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning in 1994. Later, they published the Promoting Social and Emotional Learning Guidelines for Educators in 1997. In 2019, the concept of transformative social and emotional learning, that is TCEL, was developed. Now, TCEL aims to guide students about the root causes of inequity and develop collaborative solutions that lead to personal, community, and social well-being. Now, what does this castle? You can see over here, there are five um, fundamental elements of castle. The first one is self-awareness. Now, self-awareness means the ability to understand one's emotions, thoughts, values, and how they influence behavior in different contexts. Now, this includes the ability to recognize one's strengths and weaknesses. The ultimate goal is to create a growth mindset. For example, a student can recognize their stress triggers while appreciating their hardworking personality. Next comes is self-management. Now, it means the ability to manage one's emotions, thoughts, and behaviors effectively in different situations. For example, you are overwhelmed by the amount of technology to use in your lesson, and you can say negative words to yourself that this is not going to happen, and I am not tech savvy. Now try changing your negative words into positive words by saying, I can ask someone to help me and it will become easier. Next, we come is social awareness. It means the ability to understand the perspective and empathize with others, especially those coming from diverse cultural backgrounds. This also includes to feel compassion for others, recognize family, school, community resources, and support. Now, next we come to is relationship skills. Now, this means the ability to establish and maintain healthy and supportive relationships with diverse individuals and groups. Now, this includes to communicate clearly, listen actively, cooperate, and work collaboratively to solve a problem. Next is responsible decision making. Now, it means the ability to make caring and constructive choices about personal behavior and social interactions from diverse situations. While solving a problem, you may ask yourself these questions. How will it impact others? Is it worth it? Why do I want to make this choice? Will this help me? So this is about the castle framework. And moving on, now this is what social and emotional learning, the core competencies look like in a classroom. Have a look at under self awareness, that is, identifying emotions, expressing emotions, mindfulness, self confidence, recognizing strengths, and under self management, managing emotions, resilience, stress management, impulse control, self motivation, then social awareness, empathy, discovering differences, diversity appreciation, civic engagement, respect for others, relationship skills. That is, you learn about conflict resolution, active listening, cooperation, teamwork, communication, and under decision making. You come to know about identifying problems, solving problems, analyzing situations, then is goal setting, leadership skills. Moving on. Now, this is how you can practice mindfulness with your students. That is, you can see the strategies. Name one thing you are looking forward to today. Number two is say two positive self-talk statements to yourself. Number three is list three things you are grateful for. Number four, list four things you can see or notice around you. Number five, slowly take 5 deep breaths. Okay. Now, next I come to is you can practice this activity for displaying a positive classroom environment with your students. And the name of the activity is known as the compliment circle. This should be done on the first day of the academic school year. If your academic year has started, doesn't matter, the compliment should be an ongoing practice. Now, for this, what you need to do is this is the plan that I'm sharing with you. The objective is to foster a positive classroom environment by encouraging students to recognize and appreciate the positive quality in their peers. And the activity is just of 15 minutes, and you need just simple materials, that is a small object, that is a ball or a stuffed toy, to pass around. And in the introduction, you can explain the purpose of the activity by telling your students that what they are going to learn. They're going to learn how to give positive compliments to each other or positive thoughts. And this will help to build a supportive and positive classroom environment. Then next step is, you can see I mentioned the timing for each part. Then is forming the circle, which will take 1 minute. That means you make your students sit in a circle or explain that they will be passing an object. When they have the object, then they will give the compliment to the next person. Then next is modeling. So you need to demonstrate how they will give the compliment. For example, you will tell your students that this is how they should praise their peer or the person to the right hand side by saying, I really appreciate how you always help out when someone needs it, or I admire your creativity in the art class, and emphasize the importance of sincere and specific compliments. All right. Tell them to give a simple compliment, not to overcomplicate it. Even simple words can touch hearts and minds. Okay. Then the activity, which is of 8 minutes, that is, you start the activity by passing the object, and then the student gives the compliment to the person on their right, and then you repeat the phase. And once the activity finishes, then you have a reflection, which is of 2 minutes. That is, after everyone has done the task, then you ask them, how did they feel when they received the compliment from their peer? And then is reinforce the idea that recognizing and appreciating each other's positive qualities can help create more positive and supportive classroom environment. And then you give a conclusion, that is, encourage them to continue giving those compliments and support each other throughout the school year, or maybe college year or university year. All right. So now there were some important takeaways from today's session. That is, you learned the importance of a positive classroom environment. You learned the components of a positive classroom environment, building relationships, then is classroom management strategies, creating a safe and inclusive environment, engaging and motivating students, that is the strategies, then is social and emotional learning, as well as the activity for building a positive classroom environment. So this brings my presentation to an end. If you have any questions or if you want to give any compliments or feedback, you're most welcome to write your feedback on the YouTube comments, or you can, if you know me personally, you can even send me a WhatsApp message. Your feedback means a lot to me. So please have a look at this particular session, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. Take good care of yourselves. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz.